Was it Al-Qaeda? The first crazy terrorist thing that I think was shown to the world, I could be wrong, but I want to say it was the beheading of Nick Berger or whatever. Was that by Al-Qaeda? Is that right? Am I making that up? This is way before ISIS. Or was it just Nick Berg? Do you remember when Nick wanted to take a bet on Russians to take the Donbass? You should have taken that bet. I don't remember if I did or didn't, but... Destiny, down bad. Whoa, Patreon let off their entire security team. Wouldn't trust my data there. Also, there's some amazing talent to scoop up. Wait, what happened? Is Patreon going under? Daniel Pearl. I don't even know that one. More tech layoffs? Good. Tech has been getting way too much money recently, okay? Tech is fucked, okay? You motherfucker. People in California are hiring these kids, 19, 20, 21-year-old motherfucking programmers, okay? For $250,000 a year TC. Unbelievable, okay? You tech motherfuckers are riding high, okay? We need less fucking losers, okay? Programming random fucking bullshit apps, and we need more people working in hospitals, okay? Get these kids the fuck out of here, all right? Congratulations. You worked on one project when you were 14, and now you're getting hired by some FANG bullshit, making $260,000 a year, okay? And you don't even have a real job, and you work from home, and you work like 2 hours a day. Fuck you. Fuck the tech bros. They've risen too much. They've grown too powerful. We need to take them down, okay? We need to take these tech bros down. Unbelievable. If you are a fresh college graduate, your salary should be capped at $85,000 a year tops. Maximum. If you can afford to live on your own, fresh out of college, something is wrong there, okay? Something's wrong there. Shouldn't be possible. And if you're getting hired before you've even graduated college, that's bullshit. We need to bring NCAA football rules to tech kids. You don't get a college degree, you don't get a job, okay? Programmers should have to go to school. Fuck you. No more of these 19-year-olds making $200,000 a year because you happen to fucking make a mod for fucking, what is it called, Roblox, okay? Get them out of here. Get these kids the fuck out of here. Get them back in school. Unbelievable. Fucking losers. Disgusting. They're disgusting, okay? They don't even work real jobs, all right? I go out, I see men putting roofs together. I see people repairing streets and roads. I see people working hard. Then I ask these tech guys, how much did you make last month? Well, I'm fully vested now, so I cashed out, my $700,000 in stock, so I think I'm going to go work somewhere else now. Wow, that's impressive. What'd you do at your company? Well, I made this new tool to query a database like 2 seconds faster, and, but I told management it took me 6 months when it actually took me 6 hours. And, I just jerked off the whole time. And it was all work from home. I have like a clicker on my mouse thing to like make it look like I'm active the whole time. And I actually just like jerk off. The fuck out of here. You fucking losers. Disgusting. Disgusting tech losers, okay? No more of that in my chat. No more! Check Pokey's Twitter. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Also, if you're a tech bro and you're a tier 4 sub in my chat, I fully support you. Let me grab another red one, 1 sec. Oh, and I need that boom sound effect. Who's working on that? I need to put it on my soundboard. Desperately. I desperately need that boom sound effect.
If you're ever reading anything by Keffels, please read it out in her robotic, monotone voice.
Thanks for going in on these flowers. Everyone here is a piece of shit.
Oh, hey. Oh.
And this is why Keffels doesn't play Among Us.
Oh.
Stephen, God bless the Queen. She was a Coke in a world of sprites.
I got banned. Take my money. Man, unban me Destiny.
Damn, bro, real? I mean, I get it, but that's fucked.
Did you hear the Queen is dead? Keffels is literally PETA for trans people. Let the hate flow through you. Moon Knight was the beginning of the end. Horribly produced show.
I just wanna chill.
I have $100,048. Here's the change, so I'm at 100K only.
Five.
Cut.
I need to play the thingies
Can you
now.
get dispel pad?
I have. Yes, that's okay.
Yeah, you just dispel yourself. Otherwise, second. Same rules. It's coming in 3 seconds. Wait a little.
I would like
We
to
unbanned
see
me.
this.
Okay, timer is wrong. Never mind.
I think the timer is based on interrupting it insta.
Okay.
Don't.
Dispelling machine? No?
Ooh, okay. That was not planned. I mean, it was... Ooh, okay. Don't.
Dispelling machine? No?
Ooh, okay. That was not planned.
So yeah,
I hate Monarch
I
Strange,
think
you ban me
I
for
mean,
it.
it was planned, but not me getting one shot.
Are we done?
I think it's almost Mando.
We're too quick.
Why are you linking this? Okay.
I mean, it was planned, but not me getting one shot. Planned.
No?
I hope when Hassan is dead, someone is gonna dance on his
I think
Baji
those-
grave.
Jesus.
Bro,
No, it was not a taunt, it was only my damage.
Bruh.
I can't stop my damage.
Okay, back to this video.
Exactly the same as the one he made about Sophie. It's also absolutely ridiculous that he rambles
Maybe we have
on
like a
about
rule.
Kira
If
just
we
being
get the
close to people
spells,
for clout
like,
as well,
everyone gets a
because
corner assigned,
he is
then we just run
absolutely
it.
close to Vorsh and Destiny for clout too. Like, come on, man. This is all projection and we can see it a mile off. I also want to make a big point here that Kira's harassment has been so intense that she has lost a lot of her viewers on Twitch and YouTube. Despite the constant barrage of harassment.
That's not why she's lost viewers. He's such a liar. What a Weasley little liar. Wait, hold on. I just want to spell this. What a Weasley little liar, dude. Somebody tell him he's still lying.
Harassment that she gets doing her job on a daily, no, hourly basis. She has been steadfast in her left-wing opinions, and she is always doing her best to unlearn the harmful behaviors that she had in the past. And she does all this despite the drop in clout that she is supposedly farming from having pretend opinions on the internet. I mean, come on, people. You can clearly see that this is absurd and has no basis in reality. It is simply the systematic destruction of a woman on the internet simply because she chose to be outspoken and make political content.
Cringe.
Seriously, if you're watching this and you have any empathy or sympathy for Kira's position at all, please go and show her some love. You won't regret it. She is more than worthy of your time. So there's a little rule of 3 that I'm trying to bring into my content here, and I'm gonna try and stick to that going forward. So I'm gonna finish this video with a third and final, and perhaps one of the worst character assassinations that Xanderhol has done on his channel.
Uh-oh.
And that is of his ex, Lani.
Oh no. Not Lonnie.
Oh boy, this is a lot. Strap in, everybody. Lani, aka Pastel Leftist, was Xanderhol's partner for 2.5 years, according to the twitlonger she posted about him in July of this year. She describes how one day, a few weeks before the time of the twitlonger, he dumped her via text for apparently lying, stealing, and cheating on him, which is already extremely shitty behavior. Lani says all of this.
Wait, what? Bro, the bias. What do you mean? Is it really that horrible to dump somebody via text, depending on what's happened? Come on.
This is completely untrue and has no idea where he got all this stuff from, but thinks it might be because a car was broken into one time and all that the people who stole stuff left was his debit card, which she already had permission to use to buy groceries and stuff like that. Lani also goes on to say that Xanderhol has refused to talk to him about any of this and claims that she was a master manipulator, also implying that she sold all the stuff that was stolen from her car for drugs. He demanded that she come home from work and pack all of her stuff, including her 13-year-old cat, into her Ford Focus and leave immediately, which is of course an absurd thing to ask someone on such short notice. She had to move out and couch surf and sleep in her car for a few weeks before she could finally go home, when she realized her room had been trashed and Xanderhol had left with her cat to go and live back at his mum's house. So she moved back into their old apartment and was obviously trying to deal with this sudden shakeup in her life, her happiness, her security, when Xander Man shows up without her cat and told her he was ending the tenancy on the apartment and she needed to move out and be gone the next day. Lani unfortunately was arrested while she was trying to find somewhere to live, as unfortunately she couldn't afford to pay the upkeep on the tags, which is vehicle registration for non-US viewers, on her car, and one of her friends had drugs on him when the cops pulled them up and she had to spend 5 days in a cell. When she made a phone call, she found out that Xanderhol and his mum had completely blocked her or were ignoring her calls. And when she got out of prison and someone managed to take her home, she found out that the locks had been changed and she had no way to get into the apartment. This meant that she was homeless and had none of her belongings. So let's recap real quick. A 2.5-year relationship, the guy ends it out of nowhere via text, claiming that she's doing drugs and stealing from him, literally makes her homeless, and what does he have to say for himself? First things first, gang. I just want to say that making content about your breakup is an extremely ghoulish thing to do. Okay, like making a tweet, going off on a Facebook post, or even an Instagram story is kind of a normal human thing to do. But a 50-minute YouTube video. Not just a 50-minute YouTube video, a 50-minute YouTube video where he is trying to say that he made her homeless for a good reason, and that she had tried to frame him, and that he was trying to debunk some kind of conspiracy against him.
So my policy on this is like, once things are public, they're public, and you kind of have to deal with it publicly. It sucks to like be public about like breakups and shit like that. Like, I agree, that's annoying. But like, if it's already ultra public, you kind of have to like address it publicly. By that point, it's like, this is why I've said this before. I get a little bit irritated when streamers are like, oh, like you guys are so parasocial, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, hold on. Well, if you've like built this whole relationship out in like a parasocial way, such that like people are watching your stream shit all the time, of course people are going to be invested in the outcomes of what's going on. Like, that's just, you built it into it. And the Lanny Xanderhall shit was obviously very public. So I think it's pretty reasonable that it's going to be addressed in a public manner.
This man is insufferable. One thing I've learned from my time as a leftist and doing actual activism out in the real world is it does not matter how much of a piece of shit someone can be. They deserve, at the very least, the basic human rights that every human being deserves. Food, clothing, housing, healthcare. Xanderhall reaching so far into the depths of his cruelty to render his partner homeless is just something that is so sickening to me from so many different angles. It was genuinely hard for me to go through this video, just seeing how smug and comfortable he is, all the while safe in the knowledge that he is going to be fine and his ex-partner is going through one of the worst times of her life. He starts off in this video by saying that early in the relationship, when he moved in with her, they had a trad-con relationship. Now, for those of you that don't know what this is, this means that this is where the man does all the money making and the woman does all the chores around the house, the cooking, the cleaning, something that's known as reproductive labor, because it's normally women in society that have done this thanks to the patriarchy. This is just like a kind of gross dynamic where he has all the power to begin with. But
wait, hold on. It sounds like they agreed to it, though. It's okay if you agree to it. I've never heard that term before, reproductive labor, but okay. But Jesus, whatever, okay.
I gotta say, if a couple consents to this and it's something that they're both happy with, then that's absolutely fine. Like,
okay.
if you have a trad-con relationship like this,
at least
and
he admits
you're both safe in the knowledge that you are fine with it and you do not feel oppressed by this, cool, go for it, go for your life. Who am I to say what's right and wrong in a person's relationship? If that works for you, cool. But it does not sound like Xanderhall had a very good knowledge of boundaries and consent when it came to this kind of relationship. He says one of the first things that he noticed when he moved out is that he wasn't seeing as much money coming in as he thought he should be, which is like a very normal thing to happen when you first move out of your parents' gaff and go to live on your own somewhere, or even with a couple. This is called the material conditions of the working class.
No, this was called that he felt like he was missing money, and when he went and he looked, he said there was money being disappeared from his account because it looked like she was stealing from it. Why is he misrepresenting this so much? Why does Melina have me so loud? Mel?
Under capitalism, Xanderhall, and I advise you to do some research on it. Of course, it's an incredibly upsetting reality check that someone like Lani understood a lot more than Xanderhall because she has more life experience than him, being an older person than him. So of course,
I also like how I'm gonna make an accusation here that's totally baseless, and I'm gonna admit that it's totally baseless, but I'm willing to bet that if we reverse the roles here, that, how old is Xanderhall, by the way? Because that Lani girl is like 32 years old or something, right? I think it's a 10-year age gap between the two. I wonder if that age gap was reversed, if this guy'd be saying like, a little bit sus that he's dating somebody so young. I really wonder, you know, but he's 23, gotcha.
So when she explains that to him, that makes a lot of sense as to why she'd say that. But no, of course, Xanderhall is implying here that she is covering up for something, that this is all part of the conspiracy against him. Xanderhall then says that Lani was not giving him the emotional support that he needed, but from the account that Lani gives about their relationship, it really doesn't seem like he was open in his communication about this stuff. It's actually really sad to read this, but here it is. I'll admit that since I started working outside the house, I haven't been as good of a girlfriend to Alex as I'd been in the 2 years prior. During the 2 years of COVID, I was home all the time, constantly available and on call to help with anything he needed. I was mostly happy, but I told him many times about how I felt lonely a lot of the time. Alex is a lot better at talking about himself than he is at listening, and most days he would hardly come out of his room. When I started working again and I made some friends, I stopped being home as often, which made me happier but him miserable. I should have tried harder to find a healthy balance we could both feel good about, but I don't feel like I deserve to have my cat and everything I own taken from me. So it kind of sounds like they came across a very normal problem that happens in relationships that's basically down to toxic masculinity preventing men from asking.
Bro, you're reading so hard. You don't know if that was the reason why. There could be a million reasons why communication is breaking down. It's such a stretch. It's such a reach. And it's inappropriate because you don't actually know. You have no fucking idea. Why would you even try to, like, guess into this? Like, that's a little bit gross.
For their needs directly.
This guy's like a buzzword
what is
machine,
a little bit
true.
more sickening in this situation, though, is that he says the only reason that he moved in with Lani was to escape a living situation with his parents.
My living situation with my parents eventually just got too toxic for me to continue being happy and making content, and I decided that my best course of action was to move away. And so I did. I moved all the way across the country to Palm Springs, California with Lani.
Which is, and I will die on this hill, a fucking terrible reason to move in with someone. It's a great reason to move out on your own, absolutely, but you should not be moving in with someone else just because of that.
That's true, but I mean, it sounded like they were dating, right? Like, if they were dating, it's pretty natural that they would move in together. He's not gonna move out while she lives someplace and he lives someplace. Like,
when you move in with someone that you love, that you're in a romantic or sexual relationship with, you do it because you love them and you care for them and you decide to face this life together, not to escape another shitty living situation, which in all honesty doesn't actually sound like that bad of a situation because his parents took him in straight away after things went wrong with Lani. He also goes on then to say that Lani needed attention, which is like, dude, do you know what relationships are? In fact, even 5 minutes ago, you said that you needed attention from Lani and that she wasn't giving it to you. And apparently that's a valid thing for you to complain about, but not for her. He also does this bizarre mental backflip here saying that
Lani would want attention, despite the fact that both of us were at home all day and we spent tons of time together just by virtue of that.
that's not a good thing to say.
Like, no, dude, just because you're in the same house as someone or even in the same room doesn't mean that you're doing bonding activities or paying attention to your partner. That is like the laziest relationship I've ever heard of in my entire life. And from what Lani said in a tweet longer that we just read out, it kind of sounds like you were just in your room a lot of the time, just doing your own fucking thing. This next part is just absolutely batshit. Like, I really gotta hand it to Xanderhal. Of all the things that he does wrong that I've talked about in this video, this really takes the cake.
While my suspicions became ever increasing, Lani was offered a job cleaning Airbnbs by a friend of hers. She took it, claiming she wanted to be able to get out of the house and make some friends and help make ends meet financially. Lani was now spending most of her time out of the house. In some cases, she would go more than a day without responding to me, and eventually started not coming home. When I'd questioned her about it and she'd actually respond, her reasoning was that she was spending the night on her friend Sarah's couch because they worked together and they were carpooling to save money on gas. I didn't buy it, and the first night that she didn't come home, I started to consider the relationship over.
Like, to consider the relationship over the second that your partner does something that you don't like is so weak, dude. Like, you utter waste man. I couldn't think of a situation that is more childish, ridiculous, and self-serving than a man not even attempting to fix his relationship.
Depending on the type of relationship you're in or what's going on, a partner spending the night away from home, if it's not pre-agreed upon, I could totally see that being like a literally just an instantaneous relationship ender for some people. Like, depending on, now it's going to depend a lot on your circumstances and like who's doing what and like what the expectations are, but like a partner just disappearing for the night, that's like a pretty big deal to some people. I would be wary of stuff like that. There's a reason why, especially if it's not communicated beforehand. I don't know if the rest of the world is like this, but in every job I worked, if you no-call, no-showed, if you were at a really nice place, you'd get to do that one time. Otherwise, but for a lot of places, you would just instantly be fired. If you no-call, no-showed to a job, you were gone instantly. That's it. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't seem that wild to me, but.
When his partner is trying to make herself happy on her own. Everything he talks about next, where he says that she wasn't answering his frankly ridiculous text demanding to know where she is.
That's not a ridiculous text, my dude. to ask where your partner is when they don't show up after work? That's not a ridiculous text at all. I would expect most people, I would expect most people to be wondering where the fuck their partner is.
He mentions that Lani shuts him down, saying that he's being controlling. And like, yeah, dude, that's because you were being controlling. Demanding to know where your partner is all the time, that's a...
Oh, man. Oh, this guy is just real fucking stupid. There's nothing wrong with asking where your partner is, or even demanding to know. I think you probably have a right to know if it's your partner where they are. Like, what do you mean? Like...
extremely controlling behavior.
That's not extremely controlling.
Why are you not doing any self-reflection here, dude? Being completely overbearing in how you smother a partner is absolutely absurd. And you really need to consider that other people need space. Throwing all your toys out with the pram and making her homeless because you simply cannot be bothered to try and make the relationship work is, well... the whole man belongs in the bin. He also complains that Lani took the keys with her every time that she went out, and that meant that he couldn't go out and do stuff. And it just makes me think, dude, are you an actual amoeba? Just get some more keys cut. Speak to the property manager. Like, what do you fucking want, dude? I think that...
Are you allowed to do that? I feel like, I'm being honest, I don't know. But I feel like in most of the places I've been at, you're not allowed to make duplicate keys for apartments. At least I've never seen that before, but you could maybe ask for another set of keys, but now it depends on if your partner is on the lease or not, probably, right?
In listening to all this and understanding what's happened here, I've come to the conclusion that Xanderhal made a huge mistake that a lot of people do when they look for a relationship, and that is that he wasn't looking for a partner, he was looking for a mother. This kind of makes sense when Xanderhal talks about the stresses that he had living with his mum.
Bro, this is actually some cringe wild shit. This guy's like actually a piece of shit. He's like it's like the opposite of like the toxic masculinity person. This is like the toxic femininity shit, where he's like just making these insane stretches, these insane reaches, these huge judgments, and he really has no fucking idea. He just doesn't know.
I can actually relate to it a lot, and I did used to exhibit a lot of the same harmful behaviors that he did in like overbearing, needing to know where your partner is all the time, thinking that they're like lying and cheating on you and stuff like that. But my dude, that is a trauma response. And to be fair to myself, I never fucking made anyone homeless.
Just to be clear, me and Melina, who are in an open relationship, we can't do that. We wouldn't do that. If I went to sleep and Melina didn't show up some night, I would think that something is really wrong. And I'm pretty sure she would think the same thing. We're literally open. Like, the idea that he thinks that it's controlling to know where the fuck your partner is, it's just such a wild, insane fucking thing to think. I don't think in any household, or if you left home and you didn't say anything, your parents would wonder where you were. If you lived with a partner, they'd wonder where you were. It's such a bizarro thing for this guy to say.
Never made a fucking 50-minute rant video on why doing that was a good thing to do. And this next bit just, ew.
She would constantly use my card to order Grubhub and Uber Eats to places she was cleaning for lunch instead of packing some of the fresh food that she'd bought that was in our fridge and going bad. She'd also constantly leave half-eaten food just sitting on the counter to go bad. She wouldn't even bother just throwing it in the fridge to let it be good for later.
I can't stand people who call themselves leftists and do not understand that people do not want to do reproductive labor.
Dude. This is some brain rot shit. Like, this guy's brain is rotted. He's learned so many buzzwords. I always say this, and I'm gonna keep saying this, and I encourage you guys to do this. I did this a few times when I was debating Richard about the, how am I running out of energy all the time? About the Nazi shit. I think every now and then it's good to take a step back and like have like a macro analysis of like what the fuck is going on right now in my life, in this argument, in this debate, and what I'm standing for, what I think of. It's always good to take a step back and look, am I losing the plot? I'll do this in the middle of debates sometimes where I try to refocus or ask what are we arguing about or whatever. It seems like I'm being passive aggressive. I'm not being passive aggressive. I'm just genuinely trying to figure out what's going on. I think this guy probably needs to step back and do that. Like, when you get to the point to where you're arguing that like, well, I can't pack food even though it would save me money, because that's reproductive labor, which is a vestige of the patriarch, which is actually an oppressive structure that capitalism reinforces us with and makes it so that I can only order Grubhub. Like, you at some point you gotta say like, okay, hold on. What the fuck are you talking about? What is wrong with you, okay? You can pack a fucking lunch, all right? You don't need to write a 32-page essay on why packing lunches is like oppression, all right? Like, take a step back, take a deep breath, and figure out what the fuck is going on. Holy shit. Like, you're not door dashing because capitalism makes you, my dude.
Like, cooking is a whole ass thing, dude. Lots of people get Uber Eats. I'm gonna be getting an Uber Eat after I've recorded this video because...
Believe it or not, and I know this is hard for some of you, shouldn't be hard for him because he looks like he's around my age. Poor people lived way before Uber Eats. Poor people lived way before DoorDash. We actually did. We were able to do it. Yeah, we lived off McDonald's, $1.99 double cheeseburgers, okay? Or the Taco Bell menu, okay? We had ways to survive. I can't think of a single poor person. I don't know because I wasn't poor when Grubhub existed. But I can't imagine ordering Grubhub if you're poor. Like, that's like 10 fucking meals, unironically. One Grubhub order is gonna be 10 fucking meals if you leave a tip. Because you can get like shitty fast food meals. Well, back in the day you could. I don't know now. But before you could get it for like $4 to $5. No, back then you could get it for $2 or $3. 2 double cheeseburgers, you'd ask for a cup for water, you'd get some Sprite, and you'd walk the fuck out. $2. I think it was a 600 or 700 calorie meal, I think. Each double cheeseburger was like 300 to 350 or 360 calories or whatever. And then you'd be gone. Grubhub and DoorDash is like 20 or 30 bucks a pop, dude. It's so much more expensive. It's so much more expensive.
Got no energy to cook. And bear in mind, Lani, again, as he admits, was the entire trad wife ideal. So she was doing all the reproductive labor, she was going out doing a job, and she was trying to socialize. He complains that all the food in the fridge would go back.
Reproductive labor is not that hard. It's just often unappreciated. And it can leave the woman fucked in the case of a divorce where she now has no marketable skills. But it's not like it's impossibly difficult. They have no kids. They don't have fucking children. Keeping the house clean is not that difficult when it's just 2 adults. Even if it's with a dirty adult. If that's your full-time job, it's not that hard.
And I'm not being funny, man, but like, Sanderhall, have you never been in control of a fridge in your entire life? It happens all the time, because unfortunately capitalism doesn't allow us a lot of time to actually address things like that. Plus, if you've got ADHD like me, planning and cooking is such a drama. When I'm hearing this, I can't help but go back to this clip that I played you earlier.
Buy some fucking pizza Lunchables then, at least. You can buy pre-made food. I buy pre-made fucking food. There's other solutions than Grubhubbing or Uber Eatsing or DoorDashing. That shit is so expensive.
And
And Lani says,
go to the bathroom. Why can't you ever throw up in the toilet?
like, this is a thing that happens regularly, and this poor woman has to deal with this literal baby man popping whiteys on stream because he smoked too much weed and he just can't make it to the bathroom.
That is pretty cringe of Xanderhall. But
so Xanderhall is then talking about how he blocked off all of his PayPal accounts, all the access he knew that Lani had to his money, and then goes on to show a bunch of Cash App transactions made to her account. But hang on a minute, if he just like on a whim decided to like stop her from getting money, which was her only access to money, by the way, especially considering that he thinks that she was lying about the job that she had. And of course, remember chat, her having access to his money was an agreement that they previously had in the relationship, whether it was unspoken or not. What did Xanderhall expect Lani to do when he stopped her from having any access to money whatsoever? No, there was no chance for Lani to plead her case. No chance for her to talk it out with him. No, Xanderhall exacted the same state violence that any sheriff or landlord would do on someone who has not been paying their bills on time. It appears that the same day he did all this and stopped her from having access to money was also the same day that he kicked her out of the apartment. He didn't confront her with the information that he now had, nor did he give her any kind of grace period to find somewhere else to live. He just acted like the most disgusting, entitled, wannabe land baron that you could possibly conceive. Also, this part in the video where he scrolls through the transactions of varying amounts that absolutely can be explained away mostly by the fact that, as he admits earlier in the video, he was the sole breadwinner and gave her free reign of his debit card with this absurd epic music like he's just sold the